Welcome to the Gospel Road. We're going to look at Colossians 3. It says, "If then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not things that are on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. Put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you: sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry. On account of these, the wrath of God is coming. In these you too once walked, when you were living in them. But now you must put them away: anger, wrath, malice, slander, and obscene talk from your mouth. Do not lie to one another, seeing that you have put off the old self with its practices, and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge after the image of its creator. Here there is no Greek or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythe, slave, free, but Christ is all and in all. Put on then God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other, as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you were called in one body, and be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with thankfulness in your hearts to God. And whatever you do, in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God, the Father, through him. Wives, submit to your husbands, as is fitting to the Lord, and husbands, love your wives, and do not be harsh with them. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. Fathers, do not provoke your children, lest they become discouraged. Bondservants, obey in everything those who are your earthly masters, but not by way of eye service or people pleasers, but with sincerity of heart, fearing the Lord. Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ, for the wrongdoer will be paid back for the wrong he has done, and there is no partiality." Colossians 3. That's what we looked at today. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with thankfulness in your hearts to God. Do we live through our life being thankful, almost sounding happy? I know I don't. I'm not going to lie about that. Sometimes I'm always feeling overwhelmed and I just am not sure where I'm going next. And now on the flip side, there are some people that are kind of living their life that way, and they almost get annoying because they're a little too much over the top. Sometimes I wonder, we've got to figure that balance between reality. I don't want to call it fantasy, but it almost could be. Not looking at what's actually happening every day and dealing with those daily matters, or trying to sweep them under the rug and ignore them, thinking they'll just go away, and not giving people the information that they need. Just got back from my trip in Washington, and it was good. It was a good trip. It was very interesting. And I know our last keynote was Harry Smith, former reporter, going to be teaching at a Iowa school this fall. His class is going to be curiosity, being curious about things. Which reminds me of a class that I did. It was in when I was going to school, asking the right questions, making sure you are asking those questions, making sure you're learning, you're understanding what's happening. I mean, we all start in one place, but does curiosity take over so you can learn more and be better at what you're doing, or do you just kind of sit where you are and not do anything? You're not growing, you're not changing, being better to do better for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for work. It's always funny because every time I hear that curiosity, it always pulls, jumps in my head. The whole curiosity killed the cat. But sometimes we do have to be curious. We do have to ask those questions to really delve in to understand what is going on. And sometimes you have to ask that because people are not giving you all the information that you need to be given. You need more information to be able to understand what is happening, what's going on every day. Some people are not the best at sharing that information. They keep it close to their chest and not giving that out, even if it's information that people should know. Because what happens is when people do not have the information, they start getting concerned, they get worried, they start making things up. I try to live everything pretty transparent as an open book, and that gets me in trouble. It gets me in trouble more often than not. But the thing is, we need to be able to share things with people. Now, again, you are almost playing telephone and you might share something and they might then pass it along, not the way that you intended, because that's going to happen too. And that's kind of bit me a little bit. And actually, if you read what I shared, it was actually shared correctly, just people read it wrong and didn't like it. We deal with that. Thing is, we can't make everybody happy. I was talking about people pleasers. And the thing is, if you're trying to do that, there's so many sides when you're trying to be a people person, especially in the position that I am now, because, or let's talk about if you were in government, you're there for your constituents. Well, are you there to make your fellow senators and representatives happy as you're trying to get things done? Or are you trying to get things done for the people that voted you into office? For me, am I trying to make the powers that be happy, or am I trying to encourage and inspire and motivate the members of my chamber? Very, it's a very fine line, and it's a very interesting line. It's politics, and politics are a huge pain in the rear. I'm not going to lie to you. And it gets frustrating. It gets annoying, and you're not going to make everybody happy. So where is that balance? Where is that line that you figure out what you're going to do? Again, asking the right questions, being curious to do something. And again, we might do something, a career for 10, 20, 30 years, but then all of a sudden we're going to change into a different career. I mean, look at me. I was in one career for 30 years. I was in radio for over 30 years. And now I am in something completely different. Not completely. It's still kind of PR, public relation oriented, but it is different. Still communication, still marketing, but just in a different way. I met a few people and made many connections. The 3 days, 55 hours, however you want to label it, on my Washington, D.C. trip. A lot of great conversations, a lot of conversations that I was having of seeing how people were thinking the same way. Some people are willing to say something, some are not. They kind of, again, keep it to themselves. Again, fine line, and you have to be careful. I'm not going to lie, I'm not always careful. I fall into that. Downside of being a talker for all of your life, right? But where is it that you are falling in your life? Big thing, I am very thankful for the job that I have. I'm thankful for the connections that I'm making. I'm thankful every day. Yeah, I love what I'm doing right now. So if nothing else, maybe you are failing in those different things of how you are living day to day, but are you thankful with what you have and thankful for what you are doing? Because sometimes it gets hard to just live in a sunshine world when there's others just kind of hammering down on you and beating down on you every day. It can get overwhelming and you can get burnt out. You can get worn out. And that's where it's very important that you're figuring out that balance so you're not getting worn out. You're not getting beat down. It can happen more so than not. Always has. And we have to know what that balance is to be careful. So we can continue to do our best as we're trying to be the best that we can. All right? Colossians 3. That's what we looked at today. So how can it help you do what you're doing better? How can it help you be better in your life as you are moving your way up the line? Are you treating others with respect? Are you just running over them because it doesn't matter, because you're just looking for that next rung on the ladder and they really don't matter to you? Their feelings or nothing matters to you. Yeah, figure it out. Where are you? Where are you as you're growing to be better? Colossians 3. Be sure to check it out. And thank you for listening. In fact, if you enjoyed this, you can always share it on social media with others. Find me on social media. That handles my buddy Jimmy, CB104. Isn't that kind of funny? Growing up in the 70s, it was the CB and everybody had a handle. And now we're on social media and everybody has a handle again, just in a different way. That's kind of funny. How things change. And yet more, they stay the same. Just communicating in a different way. Oh, also, whatever platform you're listening, be sure to give me a rating. That's always a pleasure as well. And you can always find all the different things that I do at mybuddyjimmy.com. I was actually on another podcast last week, or the week before, maybe, before I headed out. Yeah. Just remember to take away the slander, the anger, the malice, the wrath. Be that better person, no matter what the others are doing around you. You know, as I always say, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right? And you treat them with kindness, and it's like pouring hot coals on their head because they don't know how to handle that. They don't know how to deal with that. Sometimes they might look at you as you're an enemy, but you're not an enemy. They just think you are. Again, having a conversation, being curious, asking the right questions. Colossians 3. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.
Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com.
If you're looking for help with software, app, web development, be sure to check out my friends at ingenuitycompany.com. They believe in their clients. Software development, app development, web development, visioning, design thinking, diagramming, organizational development, strategy. They can help you at the Ingenuity Company. Find out more at ingenuitycompany.com.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.